I'm Dan Man. I am a spoken word artist, poet, graphic designer, videographer. I'm just an all-round creative individual. I started writing because obviously I'm not a stranger to writing. But I realised I'm writing without a beat in the back. Silent Screams, I can't remember the year, but that's when I realised it was Letter to a Black Woman that I penned for the CD, for the album, and that to this day is a lot of people's favourites. It was the response from that made me know I've got something. I used to have insecure moments, or I used to care too much about what people think, and I still have moments where I slip and I relapse and I start to care what people think. But a lot of the time I put myself in a place where I don't care what people think. Like these people who I'm thinking care or have something to say, they're not in my everyday circle. When you let go of your ego, you're able to kind of have a different perspective and realize that my testimony as such is going to inspire or help the next person. Do you know what I mean?
Today we've got a multi-talented person joining us for our Upfront concert, and it's a long-time friend, But for the viewers who don't know who you are, I'll let you introduce yourself. Who are you and what do you do?
What's going on, people? I'm Dan Man. I am a spoken word artist, poet, graphic designer, videographer. I'm just an all-round creative individual.
Cool. So you know what, Dan Man, we've been wanting to have this discussion for quite some time. You came on our first episode on Upfront discussions, and we had a deep conversation. It was just the audio at that point, so we've grew a little bit.
It's looking good.
We've got this set up, and you are going to be performing for us today, performing some pieces. But before we get into the pieces, right, I want to talk a little bit about the journey, because for me, you didn't always start out as spoken word.
No.
So what was it before spoken word came into play?
Well, you know, but many won't know that before the spoken word and poetry, it was actually S-Squad. S-Squad is a family collective. My brothers and my cousins, all blood related. And we wasn't actually a group, but we came together because we all listened to hip hop. So we decided to just pull together and see how much noise we can make. And it was a good ride. You were there for it as well. So it was fun, man. It was fun. My role as part of S-Squad was I was a producer. So I like to play the background a lot. I was comfortable in the background. And then a couple of years into it, I started to rap. These guys kind of pushed me forward a bit because they knew what I could do, but I was like, I'm too shy for this. It's not really my thing, to get what I mean? So they pushed me forward into the limelight, and I realized I can actually write bars and the rest. But I always knew I didn't feel that comfortable up front because I was okay helping the machine run from the back. That was my position, you know what I mean? So I was happy playing my position.
Yeah. And do you know what? It's interesting you saying that, right? And I think that what you've just said, that's why S-Squad was so successful and you had such an impact, because it's rare to find people that say, I will play my position. Because you know, when you have a collective of people, everyone wants to be in the front.
There's egos and there's all that stuff, but the good thing about it is we knew each other. We were all literally brothers, you know what I mean? So we looked at everybody's strengths. For instance, Meeks, his strength was that charismatic kind of upfront kind of. Basically, people knew S-Squad because of Meeks, and we were okay with he's the net. He would draw people in, and then people get to see what S-Squad is about. But we knew that was his position, that was his strong point. He could network and liaise with people. So, like Fourth, he was the deep guy that had the knowledge, and he had beats and all that as well. So, you know, if you want a particular beat that's got a particular substance, you're gonna go to Fourth because he's gonna create that. If you wanted something that was more up tempo or emotive, you would go to Twins because they've got a whole range of. They were like the premier producers, to be fair, but everybody was kind of notches under them. But everybody had their own kind of sound. Like Zeke's on production, if you wanted that kind of let's say, the Aggie kind of dark, gritty kind of sound, you would say, let me see what you got. And you probably hear something from him, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me, I was just, I can't really say I had a lane. I was just trying a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was it, really. Everybody had their thing.
Yeah.
But then together it was kind of like, it was just mad. It was just exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting.
And also as well, because before we go onto the spoken words, you had that creative, you've always been creative, right? Because with the visuals, and it was interesting to me when we spoke before, you said that you was just trying a thing, right? And you was just doing it. From the outside, it didn't look like that, if I'm totally honest. But where did all that creativity come into? When did you start realizing that, okay, then I could do the graphic designing and so forth?
You know what? I think I realized I had a knack for graphic design. I didn't know it as graphic design then. I knew it as desktop publishing then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I was like 13, maybe 14, when I was in St. John Moore School, I realized in technology, food technology, I realized I like graphic design, but they didn't do any graphic design.
Yeah.
So I had to then kind of, I think my parents, my mum, my dad, one of them, they bought me a computer. So I had a bog standard PC. I would kind of geek out and try and teach myself graphic design and the rest, or desktop publishing at the time. And then over the years, you know, family would ask me to do invitations, flyers, and then word of mouth, I started to do other stuff. I started to do flyers. Then I started to do logos. I even did one for in the show video.
Yeah. We still got that, you know.
I found it the other day. I found it. It was like, oh, that's a classic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With me, it's like I used to do the work, but I was never really, really happy with the work because I always felt like I can do better. I just don't know how.
Yeah.
I understand it's a process. So years later, I ended up getting a couple of jobs doing graphic design and started doing it as freelancing, and then realized, oh, I'm actually getting better. And I found myself doing artwork for a vast majority of, a vast amount of people around the way and outside the way, do you know what I mean? So it just kind of organically took off by itself.
Yeah.
So then I realized after a while it's becoming saturated. Everybody's doing graphic design, everybody's doing edits or whatever they used to call them. So I thought I need to kind of add something else to the repertoire. So I then got a camera, started doing a bit of videography. Yeah. So I'm still learning today to do videography, but I always thought I need to kind of offer something more than just a graphic design, because I can do graphic design with my eyes closed. You know, so can everybody else. So just trying to keep it fresh and just trying to better myself, be better at what I do. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's all self-taught.
You're very modest and humble with it, man, because you know what, right? Are you behind, right, all those graphics, like the video behind the twins stuff? Like some of the aerial stuff and...
Oh, okay. Not all of them, no. I have to give the twins their credit. They this is why I respect them, because they always like, they used to say to me before, like they asked me to do videography or graphic design, and sometimes I know I would take long just because I'm doing other stuff as well. Yeah. So proactively, they asked me to help them out and kind of show them the ropes as such. Yeah. And then they started doing a lot of the stuff themselves. Like a lot of their artwork and that they're doing now. Yeah. They're doing it themselves. They've got themselves a drone, so they're very kind of self-sufficient. Yeah. But I have been responsible for a lot of their videos and that as well. Not all of them, but a lot of them, yeah.
Because I see you in the background, I'm not going to lie, I see you with your video, right, moving around with it on the, I don't know what you call it. The
live.
Them arm things as well.
Oh, the gimbal.
The gimbal, so I see you moving around with the gimbal as well in the background, so I know some of it's coming from your...
I love playing in the background, but the thing is I will always use my talents or services to support them, because I believe in their twin same fitness thing. I believe in it from the start, you know what I mean? Yeah. I see the organic growth of it, so anything I can do to support them, whether it's me getting my hands dirty or getting involved in other ways, that's my thing, because I believe proud of those guys and fully believe in them as well. So
yeah, I respect them a lot, man. I respect the whole of the S Squad family, to be fair. I just like how you all move. I really like how you all move. Very, very tight-knit family.
I give credit to my granddad for that, because Mr. Simpson always promoted that, you know what I mean? It's like he used to say that we don't need nobody else, you've got each other. I know that isn't entirely true, but I understand the sentiment of what he was saying. So he taught us the concept of unity and everything, trying to stick together as close as possible.
Yeah. I want to go on, right, spoken word.
Okay.
Right, but how did that passion come? When did you realize that, you've got a talent in doing spoken word, and what's inspired you to take that move?
Well, the writing part of it, being a part of Squad, like I always used to write, but I was always apprehensive and a bit nervous to come forward. I didn't like how I sounded. I think I said that before. I had to kind of grow into my voice because I would always cringe. To this day, I still cringe in that as well. I'm not going to lie. But I was always writing anyway. I used to have these big folders of lyrics and bars that no one's even heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just used to have them there. And then this was outside of the rapping, the Squad days. We were supporting Nathan Dennis on his, shout out to Nathan Dennis and the First Class Legacy team. We was supporting their Silent Screens program.
Okay.
And they created an album that was going into the community and into the prisons, and it was like motivational kind of tracks from artists from Birmingham. So there's too many artists to mention, but there was a lot of local artists on this particular album.
Yeah.
Now, everybody in the meeting, everybody was tasked with a topic to produce something on. Some people did raps and the rest, and I was like, I don't rap anymore, but I still want to do something.
Yeah.
So then something just write a poem, and I think I selected the topic relationships.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was intentional or subconscious, but at the time I was going through my own what's the word? Trials and tribulations, relationship wise and the rest. So that was easy for me to kind of touch on that topic.
Yeah.
And then it just happened.
Yeah.
I started writing because obviously I'm not a stranger to writing.
Yeah.
But I realized I'm writing without a beat in the back.
Yeah.
But that way I was able to kind of, you can get more intimate and more authentic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was the time, Silent Screams, I can't remember the year, but that's when I realized it was Letter to a Black Woman that I penned for the CD, for the album, and that to this day is a lot of people's favorites.
Yeah.
It was the response from that made me know I've got something.
Yeah.
That people can resonate with, something authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because you touched on it, right, it's, with men, right, because I think when I listen to your pieces, right, you see the vulnerability, right, with rap, okay, people rap and you hear it and you don't, it's about what's going on. Sometimes it goes over your head, right, a lot.
It's bravado.
Yeah, it does go over your head. The beats as well, sometimes you're in tune with the beat. Yeah. But with your pieces, although some of them's got beats to it, they really touch the core soul, right? What's your thoughts on that in terms of, because as men, right, we don't show our vulnerability, but how did you get the confidence to pull it out there? Because it's not, it may be easy for you now, right, but that's not easy what you're doing.
You know what? I didn't overly deep it, but you are right, it's not easy, because sometimes I'm like, yo, this is kind of, like when Letter to a Black Woman came out, for instance, a lot of people thought I was directly talking about what's happening in my home or wherever I'm at, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of it was, but a lot of it wasn't. But it's observations and it's perspectives of people around me and me growing up. So to answer your question, how do I deal with, you know what, how I deal with it? I just don't care, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I used to care. I used to have insecure moments, or I used to care too much about what people think. And I still have moments where I slip and I relapse and I do it and I start to care what people think.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time I put myself in a place where I don't care what people think. Like these people who I'm thinking care or have something to say, they're not in my everyday circle.
Yeah.
They don't pay my bills, they don't feed my daughter, they don't feed me.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then outside of that, it's chose to let go of ego.
Yeah.
When you let go of your ego, you're able to kind of have a different perspective and realize that my testimony as such is going to inspire or help the next person, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about all the young people under me.
Yeah.
All of the young youths who probably have something to say or have feelings or have whatever, but they're too scared for this hyper masculinity that we have in society.
Yeah.
They're too scared to show who they are.
Yeah,
I'm not scared to show who I am. Like, I'm not scared to embarrass myself or make myself look fool if it's going to help.
Yeah.
People. And more importantly, I have a daughter watching me as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the more she grows up, the more I'm realizing how intently she's watching me when she is. She probably don't care what I'm doing all the time, but when she is watching me, she's paying attention. You know what I mean? I've got nieces and nephews, and there's people I don't know who potentially watching too. Do you know what I mean? So it's just about believing in who you are and believing your own source, because a lot of the times I still don't have people around me that have to sometimes remind me of who I am as such, because sometimes it's easy to forget.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the ego. So for me, I just don't care.
And that ego thing, right, it's big, right? And I'm really glad you said that, because that, you know, when you've got ego, I personally think it impacts on your mental health as well, because that ego, right, can get you in trouble.
It can block your blessings. It can do all kinds of stuff, bro.
Yeah.
Pride in it. So the pride can stop you from going forward, from happiness, from receiving love, from giving love. It's all ego in it. So it's a big thing, bro.
And what projects? Because I know that you're involved in a lot of projects, right? And we've spoken offline. And I like some of the stuff that the direction of travel.
Yeah. So
what are some of the projects that you're involved in, especially around the mental health?
Okay. So I'll start. Okay, outside of the mental health, I mean, a lot of the projects that I'm involved in, they've all kind of somehow spiraled after the previous project.
Yeah.
So before any of the mental health ones, I did a spoken word piece for an organization called Jabali. They're a network of Black and Asian doctors and professionals, like high earning, in the high earning brackets.
Yeah.
I was at an event that was courtesy of Nathan Dennis in First Class again.
Yeah.
And basically ended up interacting with them, ended up developing a relationship with them, and ended up doing some spoken word piece, and there was talk around doing creative workshops as well. Yeah. Where like they commissioned me to do a piece that showed the world who they are and what their organization is about, which is about trying to encourage inner city Black and Asian youth to join the NHS and be a part of the NHS and be a part of like their fraternity or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was that, and then off the back of that, because it's the same kind of linked organization, I did a project, anti-racist project with the NHS.
Yeah.
And that's kind of bringing because it's kind of trend, you know, this anti-racism stuff is a bit on trend now.
Yeah.
So they asked me to kind of creatively bring their message alive.
Yeah.
Which was interesting, and I enjoyed that. So I did a few spoken word pieces for them.
Yeah.
After that, the mental health one. Sorry, the mental health projects and the rest. That's something close to my heart, because there are, as men, we've all experienced strained mental, do you know what I mean? People close to me and people directly outside of the circle have been experiencing mental health.
Yeah.
People that I know who have actually taken their lives off the bottom of like poor mental health, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, I just feel like the men, it's not a sympathy thing, but men need kind of to be advocated for as well, because the society that we're in kind of shuns the care for men's mental health and their emotional and mental well-being, do you know what I mean?
Massively.
So it's that one, I wrote a specific piece just simply because I found myself in dark places as a man as well.
Yeah.
And it's easier to understand when you've been in the places yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have a lot more understanding and compassion towards the mental health of men. So I've been kind of, off the back of an event that I was at recently, the organization Birmingham Mind.
Yeah.
they were involved in that event. So I had a few conversations with a few people, and that we are actually in talks and discussions about collaborations.
Yeah.
A collaboration that has two directions, but the one that it's speaking loudest to me is the one dealing with the men's mental health.
Yeah.
So kind of in talks, seeing how creatively we can, what's the word I'm looking for? Integrate some of the creativity with people that they have in their system as such.
Yeah.
It's exciting. We haven't quite cemented anything yet. That's why I'm trying to not talk too much.
Yeah.
We haven't quite cemented it, but we are in active talks and discussions and meetings and about how we can bring spoken word and creativity and video and the rest to their services. So I'm excited about that. That's New Year coming.
I think that's important, because you know what, Dan, man, the more we talk about it, the more we really normalize it, because it's this thing where with men, we don't like talking about things, especially when we're struggling mentally, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Ego, bro, we don't do it because it's ego.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't want to look weak. We don't want to look like the lesser. We don't want to look like the loser, do you know what I mean? Or someone that can't manage things, but there's strength in saying how it really is. People appreciate the authenticity of you saying how it is.
Yeah.
I mean, show up as yourself, not as the mask that you're wearing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
There's no gain in wearing the mask, you know what I mean? Like me, I'll come to people with my authentic self. So if I'm not up, you probably know, but I don't mind telling you.
Yeah.
But I know that it's not easy for everybody to do that. The stigma, you know what I mean? I know that we can't really do that, but I'm glad and I'm grateful I've been able to vocalize and express myself how I'm feeling, even if it's not the clearest, or discombobulated speech or text, but I'm trying, you know what I mean? Because I'm not gonna drown with what's going on up here.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, bro.
And to be fair as well, I mean, before we go on to the pieces, what is that creative process like for you?
Okay.
Because, with the pieces that you put out, I know there can't be just things that you're just putting it out. There has to be I feel that there's a creative process because they're really deep.
Yeah. This is a mad one, the creative process is quite, sometimes it's beyond me. I mean, when I do the poetry, when I do the poetry for corporate organizations, that is me. The creative process would be me putting myself, me becoming the organization.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, so like, if I want to advertise myself, what is it that I'm trying to say about myself if I'm the organization?
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's like ghostwriting. If I'm say I'm gonna write for Dr. Dre or Jay-Z or something like that, I'd have to imagine myself. I embody.
Okay,
you know what I mean? I have to embody who I think Dr. Dre is, and then speak from his perspective, not my perspective. You know what I mean? So that's how I do it. But in regards to me writing the pieces, like for instance, the ones I'm gonna do, read and perform for today, the creative process would be it's all about where I am mentally, where I'm doing it, or how I'm feeling emotionally when I'm writing it.
Yeah.
But for it to actually manifest or whatever, not usually it's between the hours of 2 and 3 in the morning.
Okay. Yeah.
And usually I'll if I'm not writing it, it's rare that I'm actually writing with a pen. I'm in my phone, in my notes.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, it sounds a bit funny or whatnot, but I let my thumb go.
Okay.
I swear to God, like that thing in the Addams Family, the hand. Is it called thing?
I think I don't know.
Thing, innit?
Yeah.
So my hand just does that. It sounds some mad thing, and then it's just like my thumb is just doing its thing, and I was like, "What's going on?" Sometimes I'm conscious of what's going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like directly, but sometimes my thumb is just doing what, and I was like, "This ain't me." Like, this ain't me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know it probably sounds a bit weird, but those who know.
Yeah.
I just embrace it. So that's why a lot of the time when I go back and read the stuff, I'm reading it like, who wrote this? Because I didn't write this, bro. I'm reading it and I was like, unless I'm probably trying to be too humble or whatever, not, but this doesn't even sound like me. Do you know what I mean? I know it came from somewhere. A lot of the time I say, I just feel like I'm a vessel and I can't do it for messages that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't think it's me, even though it feels like it's coming from here. Some of the times I don't think it's me.
Yeah.
So,
and it's important that you said in terms of I'm a vessel, because that's what we are, you know.
yep.
That is what we are, and we have to ensure that the messages that we put out there are positive, and that comes with growth.
Yep.
That definitely comes with growth. I mean, we've recently lost, you know, a dub poet, Benjamin Zephaniah.
Great Benjamin Zephaniah.
What influence did he have on you? Because you're kind of like down that same poetry, you know, spoken words. It's the same kind of like category.
Yep. This is the interesting one as well, because when I started doing poetry, and even to this day, I've made it, I think I said it last time I was on your show, I made it my point to not look at what anybody's doing, because I don't want to be subconsciously or consciously influenced by what I see. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want anybody else to kind of be, I don't want to imitate or mimic anybody, even if it's out of respect. I just don't want to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I purposely didn't really check people out. But when I started writing, I always used to hear about, or people used to suggest Benjamin Zephaniah. And I was like, who's this guy? You know what I mean? So in the early days, I did a bit of research and I was like, yo, I dig this guy, you know, because he's from the ends, he's from Handsworth, where they're coming from. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a Ras. So I'm looking at him and I'm like, yo, he could easily be one of my uncles. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could look at him and see like there's a humble humility that I can see when I look at him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say anybody's an angel, because nobody's an angel. I'm not. You know what I mean? But I can see that this man has a good heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and I can see that he's for the people as such. So
Yeah.
I admired that. And then when I look at his literary works, or just the fact that he's not just a poet, he was a playwright, he was a political activist, a humanitarian, do you know what I mean? And a novelist, family man, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, I could aspire to be like this man.
Yeah.
When I actually then investigated like his works and tried to look into what he's doing, I saw a lot of similarities in the topics and the type of poems.
Yeah.
Politically, the deep poems, do you get what I mean? And I thought, I didn't realize that as much as I don't want to be like anybody, I can see me in him. So that's why I have to kind of credit him and salute him and say, he's the father to my craft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you look at him, I feel like, what's the word? A student. I'm a student in his class. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I could take my craft to even a fraction of the way he did it, his legendary status, to you, if I could take my craft even to a fraction of that, I'll be grateful.
Yeah.
I've got nothing but maximum respect for Benjamin Zephaniah. And one thing I'd say is it was one of my aspirations as a poet and spoken word artist to actually meet him, just because I know that he's accessible.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? And I never actually did get a chance to meet him, but the irony about it is I have a semi-relationship with his brother.
Oh,
I did not know that this man was his brother until late.
Yeah.
Look at that. I was like, I know Benjamin Zephaniah's brother.
Yeah.
But what stopped me from actually, I didn't want to pressure his brother to be like, yo, can you? I was like groupie. I don't want to be a groupie, do you know what I mean? So just respectfully, I know his brother. I don't have to necessarily know him, but he's in the kind of radius, you know what I mean? It's just a shame that the Most High had other plans for him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he transitioned, so.
It's that humbleness, right, and humility that you've mentioned. Because before we started this episode, right, even when we was talking before today, I do a lot of reflection, right, and I said to myself, I'm going to sit down and reflect on Dan Man's journey. And it's funny that you just said that, you know, that humbleness and, you know, humility as well, because I've noticed, right, a change, right. When you started doing the spoken word, I did see a growth, right, but I saw that humbleness now coming out. It was always there because you've always been a humble person, but I saw the humbleness coming out. And I think it's because now you found, right, your lane, right, that's not only helping you mentally and spiritually, but you know, in life, right, when we find our lane, we're humble, right, and we're at peace now. And that's why when you were saying that you're comfortable in your own skin, you're comfortable with your vulnerabilities, you're comfortable with everything now, right? And it doesn't matter what people think or how it looks because I'm comfortable. I think it's because you've actually found your lane.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? It's mad that when you present it back to me, it makes so much sense. I probably wouldn't have just said that, what you've just said, but hearing it back to me, I'm like, it does make sense. It's like, I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. I'm comfortable with not knowing. I'm comfortable with looking silly or being insecure, or, you know what I mean? I'm comfortable with it because I know it's not, I know a lot of it is just here. I love and know who I am here. Do you know what I mean? All them extra things, them voices that we hear, that's just a byproduct of being in this society. Do you know what I mean? We're always going to hear stuff and we're always going to flip-flop and relapse. But ultimately, the tunnel vision, I know who I am now more than ever. Do you know what I mean? So it comes with that.
And you're going to perform, right, 3 pieces today, right? Yes. And the first one, right, that I want to talk about, and just digging deep, because Black anxiety, I shared that with a few colleagues. And I think I told you as well, the feedback that I got, it blew them away. That did. Why did you decide to, where did that one come from?
I can't take full credit for Black anxiety. I have to give credit to Nikita. I think she's a mental health PhD. She's a professional. I don't really want to small up her thing because I don't know the right titles to attach to her name, but she's big in the mental health. So she's finished a PhD. Hopefully she's finished a PhD. And I think she was a part of the Cultural Connection as well. That was kind of, I'm sure they had a podcast and they were a community-based organization helping within the community, young people. Anyways, she was talking online about mental health, and she mentioned, as Black people in the Black community, we all suffer from a lot of us can suffer from mental health, but there's another thing that we suffer from that only we as Black people understand. That's Black anxiety. So I chimed in on the conversation because it was interesting, and I was like, this makes sense. And then examples of the Black anxiety would be, you know, like if, as we have expressionate people, we talk with our hands and we talk loud. But if we do that outside of our cultural setting, it looks like we're being aggressive, or it looks like there's some kind of violence about to kick off, or if we're in workplaces and ladies want to rock their natural hair and their afro or whatever, or their locks or whatever it is that's cultural, but it's kind of deemed a bit, do you know what I mean? So all these little small nuances and all these little micro racisms or whatever they're called, all these little, whatever they're called, but all of these little incidences that lead up to us experiencing another level of mental health, another level of anxiety, dealing with the anxieties that we have to face living in this society. So basically, without being long-winded, it's just the extra anxieties that we face as Black people dealing with the everyday issues that we have to deal with in this country, society.
And you've got another piece that you're going to perform today, right? The mentally how?
Okay, you want to know where that one came from?
Okay,
mental health. At first I called it mental health, but it didn't sound right. There was no ring to it. Then I thought mental health. So it was a play on the word health. And it's a poem that touches on a man's perspective of dealing with mental health. Mental health. But a lot of the time men are they experience mental health. Because everybody looks at everybody says, oh, they want the man to express himself, but when he does, oh, don't do it like that, or you're too emotional with it, or this is too much, or we can't handle it, or do you know what I mean? Or then you just become the object of ridicule.
Yeah.
So now, like, is it even safe for a man to express how he feels? And then in the end of the point of, well, I'm not really going to spoil it, but people will always say, basically you would joke, people would be the ridicule of people's jokes until something serious happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When something serious happens, everybody's saying, oh, well, we could have helped, or we should have done this, or we could have done that.
That always happens, yeah.
So it's just showing a man's perspective of going through mental health and how society kind of treats him.
Yeah.
So that's that, without being as long-winded, sorry.
Yeah. And then the final one that you perform in is a touching one. The final one is a touching one, but I'll let you talk about that one in terms of what it felt like penning that, not only penning it, but hearing it back.
Okay, the last one is called Floating. It was a play on words because it was spelled floating, Floating, like float, literally floating. Yeah. But then when I listened to it, I'm not floating, I'm floating, but I'm flowing over the beat as well. Do you know what I mean? So even though it was originally penned as a poem, I was just in Major Studio one time and he played the song. And I was like, this fits. This is fitting, but it's taking it away from it being a poem because it sounds like almost like a rap.
Yeah.
But in my head, I was like, I don't really care how it's received. In my head, it's still a poem. I just want to bless this beat. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But how that one actually came about is that one initially was a dedication to my auntie that passed away. I'm sure, is it the 10th today?
It's the 10th today.
10th today. Imagine 6 or 7 years ago today is the day that we buried my mom's twin sister.
Is it?
Yes.
Wow.
So, and it's just mad how I actually realized that when we on the way here, and I was like, today's the day.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's eerie, but it's beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because that lady there, my mom's twin sister, she was like my second mom, as you can probably obviously imagine. You know what I mean? So it's mad when she passed away. It's mad because my mom was really, really, really grieving her twin sister and still does to this day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I wrote that because I felt like I had to kind of tone my grief down a bit.
Yeah.
Because my mom was really grieving. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard to kind of grieve and support. Yeah. So I had to kind of suppress how my feelings and the rest, but I was able to, but it's driving me crazy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm trying to be strong for my mom, but because I know that writing is my outlet, that was it. Do you know what I mean? So probably 2-3 o'clock in the morning again, it just came out, and I'm not gonna lie, when I wrote it, it upset me, man. That it was like it was a release. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I possibly would have shed a tear. I'm not ashamed to say that. Yeah, I probably would have cried writing it, but at the same time, I was happy writing it as well because it's not all doom and gloom. Do you know what I mean? So it was kind of me being able to speak to my auntie and just acknowledge. I mean, the whole of it isn't about her. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. The whole of the poem isn't about her, but it's based off that time. Yeah. I created a video for it, and my daughter was in the video at the time. So yeah, it was just it's a heartfelt dedication to my auntie. But then what makes it even more special is the beats under it is produced by Major, the late great Major, Productions. You get what I mean? I have to give respect to Major every single time. But then my brother used to say it's Major every time. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. Give respect to Vomit Productions Major every single time, and it's even more special now because he isn't here and he's greatly missed. Do you get what I mean? So it's like it's a double dedication. Yeah. Because when I recorded it to my auntie, Major's famous line that he used to say when he was feeling your tracks is "Go on with that." You know what I mean? Yeah. Wouldn't say much, but he would always say, "Go on with that." Do you know what I mean? So he turned around, spun around in his chair like an evil villain. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He gave me a frame, and he said, "Go on with that." Do you know what I mean? Which made me know this is it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because if he wasn't feeling it, no disrespect to you, but if he wasn't feeling it, there's no go on with that or nothing. It's just bouncing your track and that's it. You know what I mean? Some of this conversation's gonna happen. So it was it's a double dedication. Yeah. That's why it means so much.
Yeah.
And it's one of my many poems. I was saying this to you earlier on.
Yeah.
When I write my poems, I don't remember them.
Yeah.
It's really difficult for me to remember them. But this one, it sticks.
Yeah.
It's ingrained. It doesn't, I know it word for word, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm actually proud because the poems that I write normally they exceed 3 minutes. It's hard to memorize that, bro.
Yeah.
It's really hard, but I mean, how hard is it if I know somebody else's bars and somebody else's lyrics for their song, but I don't know my own? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just how it is, bro. But I know this one.
Yeah.
That's why the first two that I'm going to perform, it's me reading.
Yeah.
The second one, I give you as I know it. Over the beat.
And you know what, Dan, man, we're honored to have you on this platform because from conversations, right, I know that it's not something that you always do. It's not something you always do. And I like the fact that you said, you know what, it's not something that I always do, but for you, we're
bro,
going to make this happen.
You lot are family, man, of course. You lot are like foundation. So anything you guys ask me to do, I say it now. I've said it before. I'm there, just let me know. You know what I mean? It's foundation because when it was Esquad days, for a long time, you lot was the only ones who was really, really repping it. Yeah. And without you lot, the streets, the airways wouldn't have heard us if it wasn't for you lot. So that's why we're indebted to you lot for those days because, yeah, man, we were a team, whatever you get what I mean.
It was, do you know what? I still remember clearly when I got that CD, right? I remember clearly that, man. I was parked up, right, by Winson Green Prison, across the road from Winson Green Prison, and Meeks called me. He said, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm by Winson Green Prison." These times I was working, I was doing parcel delivery, and he pulled up across the road where Winson Green Community Centre, and he ran across the road. I remember it like it's now. He ran across the road. He says, "Here's the CD, right, listen to it, tell me what you think." I said, "Cool." I pull it in the van, and the rest was history. As soon as I heard that, it was on the radio, and it was on rotation.
Yes, it was heavy rotation.
Look, right, we was getting...
Yes, I know, bro.
We was getting badgered. How come you just playing Esquad? Can't you play no one else? Like, people was giving us their CDs and that, right? And it was like, Esquad's on every single show, every single rotation. It's like, you know what? I can't help it, man. It's fire still.
Now we respect it, but at the same time, it would have been pressure because it wasn't, when you got tracks from us, it wasn't one track. You're getting tracks from Fourth, you're getting tracks from Meeks, from Ones, you know what I mean, from C4, from Euro.
Yeah.
And you may get a track from me, but it doesn't matter. You're inundated with tracks from them.
Yeah,
so it will probably seem like favoritism or whatever now, but we respect the way that you rep for us, bro.
Yeah, it was a good time, man. I enjoyed those days. I said it on the last pod anyway, so I'm going to say it again. We're looking for an Esquad reunion, even if it's just one album, one, or even an EP. We're looking for something.
I'll never say never, you know. I'm up for anything, and because we've all grown and we've all experienced different things, I feel like we could do it. But I mean, it's just getting everybody on the same time.
Yeah.
You know I mean, and that's it, life, innit? So we're not all on the same time, but if we could all get on the same time, it would be nostalgic. The only thing that is major's not there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
But I still think, I mean, we're all old guys now, you know what I mean? Well, old guys, you know what I mean? So we'd be like, the rest of them be like, "Oh, leave that rapping thing to the younger generation now, like my nephew and that generation," you get what I mean? But for nostalgic purposes, I'm with you, bro. It would be good for us to come back together.
I'm gonna keep asking every time I see you guys. I'm gonna keep asking until you get fed up of me. But yeah, listen, Dan, man, we're gonna let you get yourself ready and perform your pieces. Thanks for coming up. Bless up, brother. Bless.